Well, today I thought we would make a display cake in honor of St. Patrick's Day for the dolls in the dollhouse. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. Alright, so like we do with most of our display cakes, we are going to start by making a core or a base to build the cake on. And since this is not a sliced cake, you could use scrap clay, you could use, this is original Sculpey, you could use whatever clay you want. For videos, I generally use original Sculpey simply because it's less distracting. But when I'm not doing this on video, a lot of times I'll just pull out my scrap clay bag and use that. So I've rolled it out using a set of 2 double craft sticks, and I'm going to cut 3 layers with my 3/4 inch cutter. I want to make a nice tall cake this time. Be sure and check the blog post because I'll go over more details about the cake that I was inspired by online, because once again I went searching for cake pictures online and found one I liked, and that's what this is based on. So I am going to use my knife to kind of slice underneath, trying to pick up all of the clay, but this way I don't distort the shape as much. If I try to pick them up without doing this, I might distort the shape and it would be hard to get it back. Not impossible, but harder. Now, since this is raw clay to raw clay, we won't need to use any liquid clay. And since there are 3 of them, I am going to kind of roll it like that, just to make sure it's nice and even. If this clay is dirty, like I said, it doesn't matter. This is all going to be covered up. Now, this is pretty tall. This is, let's see how thick this is. This piece of clay is, now it's between a 1/2 and 3/4, it's about 5/8 of an inch tall. And I see it's also leaning, so I need to get it straight. So I'm going to make sure this is nice and straight. And since this is so thick, I am going to bake this for probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, just to make sure that it is plenty all the way cured through, because it takes a while for the heat to penetrate to the center. So when this is baked and then cooled down to room temperature, I will come back and I will show you the next step. All right, my cake base or blank or whatever we want to refer to it as is baked and cooled, and I have 2 pieces of clay here. I have a white Sculpey and I have an emerald green? Yeah, emerald green Sculpey. And I am going to get these conditioned and I'm going to roll them out using my 2 single craft sticks into flat sheets. And when I get that done, I'll come back and we'll go to the next step. All right, these are both rolled out to the thickness of the craft sticks, and I am going to cut a couple of rectangles. I want nice long pieces, and I need to have them the same exact size. That's important. It's also important when doing this, we're doing what is called a Skinner technique, which I have a couple of videos dedicated to the Skinner technique on the channel. I think there's, I'm not sure where they're at. I'll try to remember to link them in the description or in the end card at the end of the video. Sorry, my brain is not functioning this morning apparently. So I am going to cut now the white the same size. Now it is kind of important to make sure that you have the same, close to the same softness / hardness on your clays. That will make this a little bit easier. Now normally I would use my pasta machine, but I'm going to roll this out by hand because for one thing, for this small of a piece, I don't want to dig out my pasta machine, and because it's a lot of work to get it out, and I want to show you guys it can be done without the pasta machine. So I am going to cut this not corner to corner, but a little off from corner to corner. So I have 2 weird shapes. We're just going to call them weird shapes. And now I'm going to pull this apart very carefully. And in theory, this is going to give me a little bit more of a clear border on the top and the bottom, this side and this side, with the blending in the middle. A Skinner technique, if you're not familiar, is a way of making basically an ombre blend with your clay. Now, we need to make sure those are kind of pushed together. Now, very important, we are going to keep putting these sticks next to the clay. Now, I am not going to make you watch me do the whole ombre effect, the whole Skinner technique. I'm going to start it on camera, and then I'm going to turn the camera off and keep going until I get this blended the way I want it. So we folded it. It's very important which way you fold your clay. So now we've rolled it. And we're going to fold it again, the same direction. Always fold the same way so that this split is going down the middle. Don't ever fold it this way. That will mess up your blend. You will no longer have a blend. And because I need to keep this kind of compact, I don't want it to spread widthwise. I want it to go lengthwise. Off camera, when I start rolling it, I'm going to do more fiddling with it to make sure that it goes the way I want it to. Remains long this way. That's really important for what we're going to do. After each roll, I'm going to compress it down. And I want to use the craft sticks on the sides because I don't want to go too thin. If we go too thin, it's going to not work as well. So it doesn't look like much now. But after a lot of folding and a lot of rolling, it will look like a ombre. So I am going to do one more roll here on camera, and then I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to put some music on, and you can already see I'm getting some blending there. Put some music on, and I'm going to get this made into a nice ombre, and then I'll be back. All right, I'm going to stop my ombre here. I like the effect I've got. I don't want to go completely ombre because I want there to be a little definition in the colors. And remember, we just started with 2 colors of clay, and we've got a nice smooth transition. So now I am going to lay this the other way because I like that. Oops, I want to make sure that is not on my tray. And I have no idea how many times I folded and rolled. Okay, I'll be honest with you, I have no clue. I don't count. I simply put some music on and listen to music and rolled and folded. I did take some photos throughout the process, and those will be on the blog post so you can kind of see the transition as I went. Now I'm going to cut this here, and I'm going to make sure it's not attached. Probably should have done all of this before I got that stuff on it. Now, try and do this neatly and so you guys can see it. If I wasn't trying to do this on camera, it would be a little less awkward because I would be able to get it over here where I can see what I'm doing better. And we are going to bake this in stages because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this on and I'm going to trim this down to size. Now the first thing we need to do is make sure we don't have an overlap. Because I want a nice smooth transition. Through and kind of cut this. The top of this clay is this part of the top edge of the cake is fairly much just white. It has very little green in it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get this seam together. I am going to bake this for approximately 10 minutes. I want that liquid clay to cure. Once that has cured and is cooled to room temperature again, I will come back and we'll put a top on our cake. So I'll be right back. All right, here's our cake baked off. And I do have to say, at least in the preview screen on my video camera, the color is much brighter and more neon than it is in person. I'm hoping that the photos on the blog will be more true to color. I really should figure out how to adjust the color on my video, but I don't know how to do that. So I've got a little bit folded over here. I want to get that trimmed back just a little bit. All right, now, because that white at the very top has just a tiny bit of green in it, I'm actually going to take this white that I cut off and mix it with just a little bit of the green, of the white that was trimmed away earlier. Just make this just the tiniest bit green, not much. I want it pretty white, but I want it just maybe a little bit. Now let's see how that looks, because if I don't, it's going to make it look a little bit off when I roll it, when I put it on. I'm going to pull this out both ways because I'm hoping to cut it with the same cutter. Might have if I put the cutter right side up. And now I'm going to get just a little bit more liquid clay. I've had this laying on its side because it's almost empty. Be sure and get the liquid clay all the way to the edges. I've still got some over my tray, so I'm pulling some of it from over there. Now, take a little disc, and it's going to be too small, but we're going to just pull it out. And I'll probably fuss with this off camera where I can get it up where I can see it better, but I'm going to use my thumb, and I'm going to work it in and try to eliminate that seam as much as I can. Once I have this on and I'm happy with how it looks, I'll bake this for another 10 minutes at the recommended temperature, allow it to cool to room temperature, and then we can see how our finished cake looks. So I'll be right back. And here is our finished cake. I love how this turned out. I wish the color on the video preview screen was more true to what it is in real life, and I'm not sure if that's going to come across on the video when it comes up on YouTube or not. But like I said, I'll try and have pictures with better color representation on the blog post. Be sure and check the blog post. I have more information over there as well as the photos and a little backstory on why this was almost the tutorial that didn't happen. So if you enjoyed today's tutorial, be sure and hit the like button. Leave me a comment. What kinds of things would you like to see in future tutorials? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you. Hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.